Okay, so to continue our coverage over Darkseid War, we actually pick back up with Batman having a meeting with Green Lantern. Now, here's the thing about Darkseid War, because we just wrapped up our coverage over all the different tie-ins that were basically part of the overall story of Darkseid War. And most of the tie-ins are really not referenced in the main storyline of Darkseid War. Not all of them, but most of them are not referenced. But some of them are. For example, the Green Lantern one. And the reason why, because we do pick up with Batman having a meeting with Green Lantern. Now, when it comes to the meeting between Hal Jordan and Bruce Wayne, it's really more of Hal telling Bruce to get off the Mobius chair. Now remember, the Mobius chair was created by the Anti-Monitor, but if anybody is able to actually sit in the chair, they gain the knowledge of what the chair knows about the DC's multiverse. Now recently, Batman was able to get in the chair, and when he did that, he gained the knowledge of what the chair knew about the DC multiverse. The thing is, Batman does not want to leave the chair because the chair does give him a range of different abilities to use as a way to protect Gotham. Now, this is where I say the tie-ins were somewhat referenced. And what I mean by that is you have Hal tell Bruce to get out of the chair because Hal knows what it's like to have all that power in your hand. Because in the Green Lantern tie-in, Hal became the God of Light. But by the end of that tie-in, he realized having all that power was basically pointless. There's no good reason to have all that power. And so he got rid of it. And so currently it's him trying to tell Bruce to go ahead and get rid of the powers of the Mobius chair. Unfortunately, that is when you have Batman say, we have to help Superman. And we kind of find out, or technically, we get reminded that Superman was corrupted by the solar energy of Apocalypse. Because remember, in the earlier parts of the main storyline of Darkseid War, we saw Lex and Clark be teleported over to Apocalypse. Now, when that happened, unfortunately, Clark began to lose his powers because there was no solar energy nearby to keep him charged to be Superman. But the thing was, Lex felt like because Apocalypse had solar energy in a way, he dropped Clark into a fiery pit. It did charge up Clark Kent, but it did kind of corrupt him, and he became the God of Strength. And so we currently see him fighting against Wonder Woman. Now, here's the thing, because I feel like with this scene right here, his tie-in was not referenced at all in these two parts we're going to cover for today's video. Because remember, in his tie-in, he went back to Metropolis and tried to be a hero, but he was corrupted and he was kind of a huge jerk to a lot of people, including Jimmy Olsen. But he is currently fighting against Wonder Woman. Now remember, in the New 52, they were the power couple. Clark was not with Lois Lane, he was with Diana. Now around this point, it does seem like the two characters are currently dating, except when it came to DC Comics, it felt like by most of the fans, Darkseid War took place after the Truth arc in Superman comics. Now in the Truth arc, well, Diana and Clark broke up, but with this scene right here, it kind of still seems like the two people are still dating one another. Either way, she is trying her best to actually help Clark out fight against the corruption that's currently going on in his body. But then we have to pick up with Mr. Miracle and also Big Barda, where you have the two characters currently breaking into Belle Reve. Now the reason why? Because two members of the crime syndicate who are still alive are being held there, and that would be Ultraman and Superwoman, the evil version of Superman and Wonder Woman. Now with that being said, the reason why, because remember, when it came to the Anti-Monitor, he is somebody who's well known across DC's multiverse as somebody who just goes around and destroy universes left and right. And when it came to the Anti-Monitor, he had destroyed the crime syndicate universe. And so you have Mr. Miracle and Big Barda coming here to hopefully recruit Ultraman and Superwoman as a way to hopefully defeat the Anti-Monitor, because they may have the key that could actually bring him down. But then we pick up with Grail, the daughter of Darkseid. Now remember, Darkseid had a daughter along with the Amazon known as Marina Black. Either way, in the earlier parts of our coverage over Darkseid War, well, Grail was able to get her hands on the anti-life equation. Now the thing is, we have no idea what she's going to do with the anti-life equation. Now remember, the anti-life equation has the ability to break free will across the board, but she does tell us she needs one more thing, or really one more person, and that would be Steve Trevor. But she does not tell us why in the world she needs Steve to complete her master plan. But then we have to jump back over to Green Lantern Jessica Cruz and also Cyborg. Now, if you are a huge Green Lantern fan, you already know what's going to happen right here. If you're not, well, get ready. Because at this point in time, when it came to Jessica, she was technically a new Green Lantern. She just got her ring, except her ring comes from another universe, the Crime Syndicate universe. Her ring is better known as Power Ring. See, her ring is technically possessed by the spirit of Volthoom. Now, Volthoom was the first Green Lantern, or the first Lantern of any lanterns across the main DC universe, except he went mad and crazy and his spirit was trapped inside that ring right there. Now, with that being said, that ring was in the Crime Syndicate universe and it had the ability to control its host. As a matter of fact, the power ring on the Crime Syndicate was not Jessica, it was somebody else, but that person is currently dead. Now, after that person had died, the ring found Jessica and she became a Green Lantern, but unfortunately, her ring is again the Power Ring Green Lantern ring. And so while you have Cyborg and her trying to help Big Barda and also Mr. Miracle break out Ultraman and Superwoman, well, that is the moment you have Volthoom begin the process of taking over Jessica's body. And that freaks out Cyborg a whole lot. But quickly jumping back over to Superman and Wonder Woman, while you have the two characters fighting against each other, Diana was able to calm down Superman to help him remember who he is, that he is Superman, that he is Clark Kent. But then you have Batman and Green Lantern appear. Now remember, Batman is currently known as the God of Knowledge. And so with them kind of holding that title, he was able to look at Superman and say, "Oh my God, Clark, with what you did, going over to Apocalypse, absorbing the energy, the solar energy of Apocalypse is doing more harm to your body than good." Meaning that the energy is right now breaking down your cellular structure. You are technically now dying, Superman, thanks to the solar energy of Apocalypse. Now, the last few pages of the first chapter does jump back and forth between different settings. So currently we have Big Barda, Mr. Miracle still breaking down Ultraman, and you have Cyborg trying to help Jessica fight against the control of Volthoom. But the problem is though, they were also trying to break out Superwoman. But while trying to help her, well, that is also the moment where you have Jessica grab Cyborg and plug in a program. And this program is Grid. Grid was the evil version of Cyborg that was part of the Crime Syndicate team. And so with this program, you now have Grid being able to take over Cyborg's body. So now Jessica and also Cyborg have been technically turned evil. But on top of that, you have the Anti-Monitor coming back to the playing field. And the reason why, because remember, after he was able to kill off Darkseid, he began to go through some kind of evolution. But now he has reached the end of that evolution, and now he is back on Earth, back to his old self again, but still a very powerful character. But the last couple pages really does focus on one setting, and that would be the idea of with Cyborg now being taken over by Grid and also Jessica being taken over by Volthoom. You have our two characters being able to break out Superwoman. Now remember, she is pregnant, she's holding a baby, But either way, you have her use her abilities to kill off Big Barda and also Mr. Miracle, because they were right behind Jessica and also Cyborg, believing they were still good. And so we're left to believe that Mr. Miracle and also Big Barda was just killed off by Superwoman. But then at the end of the first chapter, you have Owlman appear, the evil version of Batman from the Crime Syndicate universe. He appears, and it's kind of like, okay, what in the world could possibly happen next? And so getting into the second chapter of this book, we pick up with the Justice League and the Crime Syndicate agreeing to work together. Unfortunately, they don't have a choice here. They have to work together. Now the thing is, when it comes to the League, they're agreeing to work with the Crime Syndicate as a way to defeat the Anti-Monitor, as a way to protect the Earth. But when it comes to the Crime Syndicate, the only reason they are agreeing to work with the League is to basically get revenge. Now, here's the thing, because for the League, they have no choice but to go ahead and agree to the terms that the Crime Syndicate is giving them. So for example, they want Ultraman back at full power. And what I mean by that is, Ultraman is a character who's the evil version of Superman, right? But the thing is, he does not get his powers from the yellow sun. He gets his powers from kryptonite. And so when you have our heroes bring a huge chunk of kryptonite, once he eats that, he's back at full power again. But also, when it comes to Grid and also Jessica Cruz, they will not be released by the control of Grid and Volthoom. They'll be under the control the entire time until they are able to get rid of the Anti-Monitor. But again, the League has no choice here. Now, if the Crime Syndicate does try to fight against the League, I feel like the League would be able to defeat the Crime Syndicate. But the thing is, it doesn't matter. Both teams have to come together if they want to defeat the Anti-Monitor. But then we have to jump over to Gotham City, and the reason why? Because it is currently being attacked by the Anti-Monitor. Now here's the thing, because when it comes to the Justice League, they are trying their best to protect all the innocent people who are currently being affected by the attack of the Anti-Monitor. Except when it comes to the Crime Syndicate, they don't care. They're more of like, it sucks that innocent people are being killed off by the Anti-Monitor, but we only came here to find him and get revenge. Now, while you have both parties trying to do their own certain goals, well, that is when you have Batman get attacked from behind. And matter of fact, he is knocked out of the Mobius chair. But when we realize who attacked him, we come to find out it's no other than the Anti-Monitor. He's kind of like, the Crime Syndicate is trying to find me. You guys are trying to stop me. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is not going to be an easy task. Now, real briefly, we do have the Green Lanterns, Hal and Jessica, working together and trying to defeat the Shadows, these weird creatures that are working for the Anti-Monitor as they attack Gotham City. Now, at first, you have Jessica, who's still under control by the Volthoom spirit of the Power Ring, talk some mad smack towards Hal about the idea that he's not doing a good job fighting against the Shadows who are currently working for the Anti-Monitor. But you have Hal say, I have something you don't have, and that is backup. And that is when you have a huge portion of the Green Lantern Corps appear and begin the process of trying to fight against the Shadows, again, who are currently working for the Anti-Monitor. But the thing is, the Anti-Monitor is still a very powerful character. And so even with a huge force of the Green Lanterns, he is wiping them out left and right like it's no big deal. Literally, you have rings trying to find new hosts because their original host was just blown up by the Anti-Monitor. But you have Wonder Woman and also Superwoman working together to fight against the Anti-Monitor, but he's still a very powerful threat. And so while you have our heroes trying their best to fight against him, well, unfortunately, they're getting their butt kicked by him. But the thing is, while you have our two heroes fight against him, well, that is the moment somebody grabs Steve Trevor, and we come to find out it was Grail. But getting back over to our heroes trying to fight against the Anti-Monitor, we then pick up with the Kryptonians, Superman and Ultraman. Now, here's the thing. Superman is down to work alongside with Ultraman as a way to defeat the Anti-Monitor, but Ultraman does not want to work alongside with Superman. He believes that he has the ability to stop the Anti-Monitor by himself, to get the revenge that he wants so badly. And y'all, let me tell y'all right now, the Anti-Monitor is kind of like, oh, you're trying to get revenge after I beat your butt down to the ground, and you really think that you have the ability to stop me now out of nowhere? Like, you got no upgrades. So you have the Anti-Monitor show the Ultraman his place in the cycle of life. And what I mean by that is he basically kills off Ultraman just like that. You, our heroes, realize if Ultraman died that easily, then what chances do they have to actually defeat the Anti-Monitor? But then at the tail end of the second chapter, we come to see that Grail does have Steve Trevor, and apparently she is planning to do something big with Steve Trevor, but we have no idea what that plan could actually be. But apparently it's going to be something big. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.